Hi, Marina from Take 5. I'm standing on the train tracks in Ladysmith. This was once a community where train was king. It was an important part of transportation.
The railroad drag, toot, 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 it's a joyful drag. See the train a-going around the curve. Oh my, feel that engine swerve. Engineers are humming a peculiar strain. Now in your heart you get a pain. All the people
Volunteers are working hard to save Ladysmith's industrial heritage. And part of that involves moving the Loci 11 where it can be restored.
Okay, so do you want to take this one out, leave that one, and replace that one behind then? How's this one behind you?
Well, that's not bad.
So we've been replacing the ties to make the rail bed sufficiently stable so that we can move the Loci up here to the switching, and then we'll push it back in.
Oh, right here?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll drag it to the furthest points, as they're called.
Okay, so it'll follow this track.
Points, and then we can push it onto this inside track. And that leads to the sheds where we can work indoors. One of the great problems with industrial heritage is this locomotive. As an example, the weather just deteriorates this sort of stuff so badly that it's turning into a ball of rust.
Loci 11 is closely tied to Ladysmith's heritage.
1923, it was made in the United States by a company called Baldwin, who were a major locomotive manufacturer. It was not made for Comox Logging. It was first purchased by American firms in Washington, and Comox bought it from them. And it came to Vancouver Island and began the remainder of its career. So it was working here in Ladysmith for decades.
Those who come and walk over your clothes and feel that engine hum. That train sure going some.
But time and people have not been kind to Loci 11.
This locomotive was stripped by vandals and rail fans. They'd appreciate the return of gauges, brass, levers, handles, whatever that is still in someone's possession. It's more useful back on the locomotive, and we'll benefit from not having to remanufacture those parts because they'll be the originals. So we have a much more authentic restoration as a result.
The budget is only $2,000 a year.
People like me are just bringing stuff that we've got at home, saying, oh, I'll throw that in, or I'll spend a few dollars because we believe in what we're doing.
Saturday mornings they hold a weekly work party starting at 9:30.
The steam locomotive is like a living being. When you work with one, men become very attached to them because they know their temperament and they know how to solve her little complaints. The breath is steam, the breath of life into a locomotive. And you take inert materials like water and fire, which are diabolically opposed to one another. They don't work, and you combine it in a machine where the water boils and you take off this vaporous substance and you make that into power. And it's clunky and huge, but it's phenomenally powerful. And there's a great feeling being at the throttle of a machine that responds like that. You have to be in touch with it with your feelings, and that includes physical feelings. When you run a machine like this, there's no speedometer. Everybody goes, oh, there's all kinds of gauges, and yeah, they do nowadays. But you had to calculate how fast you were going. There was nothing that told you that the engine was overheating. So one of the things you would do, for example, as an engineer, if you thought you had a hot spot on an axle, you had to go around and feel it. And so what you would do, if it was hot and you put your finger on it, you're going to take your fingerprints off. So you would use your knuckles like this. And you put that down to see if something's hot, because you're not going to wreck your hand by doing that. You listened to how it sounded. If it didn't sound regular, you knew how it should sound. You listened for something that was not in synchronization, how it should be. You smelled. It was an amalgam of all the senses. I've never worked with one, but I'm a fanatical rail fan, and That's why I'm involved here, is hopefully someday that this can run again, and we'll have to relearn some of those methods of operating machine. The skills are being lost. Fortunately, we have people here that do know about that.
For everything, that man of mine's got a scheme. And honey, it's amazing the way he handles my machine. My man is such a...
And yeah, so we're getting that to be a reception center and a place when kids come from school to get a tour, they'll have a place to put their backpacks. And there'll be information booklets there to give people a brief rundown on the history, progress that we're making in bringing all this machinery back to life and to show our history.
Along with the Loci 11 project, they have finished renovating the old first aid shed, now an attractive visitor center, interpretive center for the group. Spearheaded by SHIRLEY BLACKSTAFF, one of their key volunteers, this could be the start of an attractive waterfront heritage village.
We are serious about bringing this locomotive back to life and to share the history with the town and with all our visitors that come here. We do hope to have the Loci inside so that it's protected from the weather and from potential theft.
Doesn't meet all our needs, but it's the best we got.
So the whole Loci will fit in here, and you'll have room around it, in front of it, and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Do what we need.
So it'll be right here, and then where would the windows be?
We'd
Right here.
do these
You'd open
windows
these
here.
guys up.
Yeah. We'll put plexiglass in, so and allow as much light as possible.
They used this shop to maintain the cars and work on them, etc. Also, the building next door, because this door opens and you could pass through into the what we call now the Expo building.
Once the Loci is moved into the building, restoration work will begin in earnest. This old shop will become an interpretive museum.
What have we got for tourism? Well, heritage is a major part of it, and now our theme is Heritage by the Sea. So we're just continuing the good works that we've been pointed out, the right direction by councillors and mayor.
I think it's a community project, and as you know, Ladysmith is all about community, and when people see a need, then they step forward, and certainly we invite those interested in rail to step forward. Folks will have, Granny Grandpa's stuff from they're not sure what to do with, and this is a great location to bring artifacts related to Ladysmith history and to the museum.
Great.
Because we'll be able to tie this all in and bring people to come and see the history of Ladysmith and Vancouver Island.
If you'd like to help, if you have a few hours, whether it's to help out with basic rail building or whether you have special skills like electrical, give them a shout.
May get a kick out of being part of living history, making this engine look respectable once again. And in the future, should funding be available, it is possible to restore it then for operations, which would be a glorious day. But that's well into the future and past what we're immediately hoping to achieve.
And she waits.
Did you ever hear about the railroad drag? Toot, 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 it's a joyful jag. See the train a-going around.
If you like our video, please give us a thumbs up or subscribe. Thanks.
Engineers are humming a peculiar string.